Welcome to r/RedditRevenge. This is the story of someone getting back at someone with revenge after being wronged. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. The first story: HOA representative bothers me and I fired her. The second story: guy could not pay and I took his food myself. On to the first story: HOA yells at me for training guide dog and grilling, then loses position on board. To start the story, some background you need to know about me. I volunteer to train and raise service dogs. My fiance says clearly I have a look that says I'm weak and a pushover. I have constant encounters with Karen, who are just not ready for my responses when they engage me. I've been in the military for 17 years when this happened, and I was responsible for managing over 130 service members. I'm anything but a pushover. I work with civilians, so I've cultivated a polite exterior because I was counseled for looking unapproachable and scary to civilian counterparts. The story, as I said, I raise service animals, so I fall under the ADA when it comes to regulations on where and what I can do with my puppy. We'll call him O. O's an amazingly behaved black lab of 6 months. I've cultivated a level of trust and obedience where I can leave him in a sit with other dogs around so long as I'm in eyesight he'll stay. I've raised a few pups by then, and I would never have done that with them, but O's amazing, and I can't wait to get him back after his tour of duty, helping Mrs. C be independent. I meet the HOA Karen one Saturday. Me and my fiance and O are going to head on a road trip to visit my fiance's parents. In our preparation, the last on the list is always getting the kids to use the bathroom before a long road trip. So we head out. O gets busy and I grab a bag to clean it up. I put him in a sit-stay and hand the leash to my girl, and I start walking to the trash can. It's about 100 feet from where he went. I have clear line of sight to the dog, and he's sitting pretty and alert and watching me intently for a hand cue or voice command. As I'm walking, I hear a womanly screech. I don't quite make it out, but it sounds angry. I ignore it and keep walking to the dumpster, deposit my waste bag, and turn around to head back to my two favorite people. It's then I make eye contact with the HOA Karen. Karen from here on out. She's your typical Karen, not an inch over 5 foot and has the same circumference. The short chopped hair that says I'm the manager now. She looks me in the eyes and I finally listen to her shrill scream of "Your dog must be on a leash and in your hand. My county state law says so. I'll call the cops." Now, I don't do ignorant, and respect given is respect earned. I was willing to try and de-escalate. My fiance owns the condo and is super non-confrontational, so for her I try to bring it back down to civil levels of discussion. In a polite but firm voice I asked if she even looked over at the dog before she started yelling at me. She just bellows like a banshee again. I repeat. This back and forth happens 3 or 4 times. Me calm, her escalating in pitch and volume. At this point she hasn't given respect, so none is required to be given back. I break out my "you done effed up NCO to junior" voice. It's loud, firm, and clearly states I'm done with your BS, lady. I clearly tell her if she would have taken 2 seconds to look, she would see the dog is sitting on a leash in someone's hands. She stops bellowing at me, looks and turns a bit red in the face, then musters, "You could just say thank you," which I curtly reply, "Shut the F up and get out of my face." She waddled quickly off, tail tucked into her condo door. My next meeting with her was when I was grilling. The HOA states no charcoal grills and no smoking or barbecue. I was born in the North, but as a military brat moved to the South since I was 2. There's a difference between barbecuing and grilling. Barbecue is 12+ hours with coals of hardwood or wood smoking. Grilling is cooking meat on a grill instead of the stove. The HOA puts out a reminder no barbecuing on the premises and no coals. So I was like, awesome, get a small propane grill. It's not barbecue, but it's better than nothing. So I was out grilling, and I hear the banshee cry, all too familiar now. Again, she didn't come up to me and talk, she just started screaming. So I looked her right in the eye, and with the same firm voice, "Shut the F up and go away. If you say one more word, I'll be the one calling the cops for harassment by an HOA member." She sputtered something about no grilling or open flames, and I told her F off, show me in writing, by someone other than her. She waddled off, and then I was approached by the HOA president with the HOA bylaws and sat to read them, during which my fiance started a conversation with them about another issue we were having with them. She was in the middle of having the state attorney's office ask some questions about activities they were trying to force her into paying for. It wasn't going well for the HOA, and she took this opportunity to introduce herself. While she may be non-confrontational when it comes to small things, she will stand up for herself when it comes to it. Her introducing herself changed everyone's tone, and they became oh so polite. My fiance doesn't like conflict. She had a minor panic attack after the encounters. Karen tried to play the victim to her and say I was mean and could use some manners when engaging with people. I love my soon-to-be wife. She let her paint her tale how she was a victim. When she finished, she looked her dead in the eyes and said, "You know, I was the one holding the leash, and I was standing right here when he was grilling. So no, you got the same respect you gave. She paled and faded to the back. That's when the president of the HOA stepped in and told me I can't have the grill and that I can't be fined, and I needed to follow the rules of the HOA, or the next time he'll be the one calling the cops. Well, Prez, roger that. It's my job to enforce regulations in the military. I spend hours reading instructions. Nothing pleases me more than when I can shove the black and white in an a-hole's face at work to get my guys what they're owed, or to force them to do the job right. So you want me to follow the rules? Copy that, buddy. So I began my research. I found a few interesting things. No HOA bylaw can be enforced if it's not in the state database. This particular HOA's bylaws were last updated in 1994. It was 2016. They state they follow my county's fire code, which follows NFPA. Finally, the gem the exact Latin long coordinates of the HOA's property lines. So I get a login for the state's database and print the HOA's bylaws. I print the NFPA, which states in a multifamily home you can store propane tanks no bigger than 2.7 liters, but they can total no more than 5.4 liters cumulatively. I go to Lowe's, get a rope, tape measure, and stakes. I pull up Google Maps and mark the HOA boundary line on it. Lo and behold, what do I find? A drainage ditch that's city property not 10 feet from where I was grilling. So I take my coordinates, my stakes, and go carefully mark off the section of city property. Now for the revenge. I call the city/county fire departments and request a permit to grill on said city property. They said go for it. I didn't need a permit for it, no one would care. I insisted and they said it's my $50. They issued an event open flame. So with both permits, it was both $100, but I got permission from the city to grill there for 6 months. The next day at 0700, I went to set up. I carefully measured so I was at least 3 feet into the city property. Set up my cooler with enough meat and beer to grill till doomsday, then waited for the fireworks. It didn't take long for Karen to come screaming at me. I mean, I was 10 feet from the community pool and 3 feet from the sidewalk gazebo that led to the pool. I just hit record on my phone and politely told her she has no need to yell and I'm breaking no laws. She kept screaming about no grilling and how she's tired of me and she's going to get me arrested and kicked out if it's the last thing she does. She hasn't liked me since she saw me and has just been waiting to get me kicked out. But now that she knows which condo is mine, it's just a matter of time till she finds something. On and on. I guess me, polite and showing zero fear, was peeving her off, so she tried to come take my stuff. Big no-no. As she reached for my cooler, I broke out my NCO voice and told her if she so much as brushes a finger against my property, I would remove the offending body part with force if necessary. This sent her scurrying off again. About 20 minutes later, I see 2 cop cars pull up, and Mr. HOA Prez himself. He's all chummy with the cops, and as they approach, I hear him say, "Yep, same guy. I already told him once before. He can't grill on the HOA grounds." He comes to a stop about 10 feet from me. One cop stays with him, the other keeps walking up to me. I have an SH-eating grin on my face. I can hardly wait for the conversation to happen. The cop is slightly off-put by my joyous face and slight giggle when I ask what seems to be the problem, officer. I get informed that I'm in violation of the bylaws and have been warned once already, and I'm going to receive a ticket for disturbing the peace, for threatening the HOA when they were trying to enforce the rules, ticket for an illegal open flame, ticket for illegal storage of flammable substances, and so on and so on. The last was if I didn't pack up, I would be arrested and removed. Now that he was done, I first handed him my permit from the city to grill. He took it and walked back to the Prez, and they discussed it for a moment then returned. Says you can't get a permit from the city to grill on private property. I then showed him the coordinates for the HOA and the Google Maps gridded drawing and my current GPS location. Mind you, I'm smiling, handing sheet after sheet to him because the grid was not at all on one sheet and had addendums. Took about 4 minutes to explain it to him. As I was about to hand him more, he held up a hand to stop me. He then asks how long I had planned this with a smirk. I told him, about a week. He gave me a look of disbelief but moved on. He then asked me if I threatened Karen. I just played back the recording to him. At the end he said nothing seems out of place here. You're free to go. I stopped him and asked if I could file a complaint for HOA harassment through him. He said no, that the city clerk office is the correct place, but he would document harassment by the 2 of them and file the report for me. In my state, it's illegal to be harassed by the HOA. It comes with jail of a few months, fines as high as $5,000, and immediate removal from the board, and the possibility of recovery of damages. I settled for them both being removed from the board instead of filing a complaint. I waved to Karen every day I grill, or showed her my leash if I had O. The next story is, you think you're entitled to service after we close? I hope you can pay. I've been working at a Subway restaurant for the past 2 years, from the end of high school through my first year of college. I take classes in the morning and afternoon, so when I work, it's usually a closing shift. Only working 15 hours a week, full-time student. The only issue is I close by myself, so it really toys with my anxiety whenever I get a rush, or can't finish certain duties by a certain time, etc. So by the end of the night, I'm usually so out of it mentally and just want to get home ASAP. We close at 10. So tonight, I was closing like usual, and I really wanted to get home as early as I could to finish an assignment due at midnight. Of course, with my luck, it turns out being one of the busiest nights we've had in a while, because they recently sent out coupons for BOGO footlong after 4 p.m. Such an effing dumb A move, especially for alone closers. So by the time 10 rolls around, I'm effing finishing up the dishes, cleaning the line, counting the bread, wraps, bowls, etc., and I go to lock the door at 10. And as I'm turning off the open signs, a guy walks in and I tell him, "Sorry, we're closed." He wittily responds, "Then how'd I get in here?" I respond, "I was walking to lock the door right now. You have to leave, sir." Him, "No, I want a sandwich." At this point, I'm just thinking if this guy's ballsy enough to tell a business worker to stay open after hours because he wants service, then I don't know what he could do. So I decide to make him a sandwich just to make him go away. He proceeds to take a good 2 to 3 more minutes just staring at the menu. OMG, I was fuming. Every dagger imaginable coming from my eyes was hitting his stare. I make his sandwich, then we move to the POS/cash register. I go to put in the sandwich, tell him his total, and he pulls out a $50 bill. Holy SH, I get so effing excited, because we can't accept bills over $20, and I pray he doesn't have any other method of pay. I tell him the bad news. He of course gets angry, saying to break it anyway. Well, good thing I just dropped most of the money from the register into our safe before I went to lock up, so I literally couldn't give him proper change for the $50. I explain it to him as I slide his sub to the side, where he can't reach it, and he just leaves in a fit of rage. I proceeded to then take that sub home and eat it, whilst finishing up my assignment and turning it in on time. Honestly, if he wasn't such a commanding D, I would have just given him the sub, and tell him not to worry about it. But if you're gonna force me to do my job past our posted hours, and be a D about it, you're not getting a break. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all notifications.